Join the charge. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Heck, we're even on TikTok. We're excited to engage with you. We hope you'll join us moving forward.
Click that like and subscribe button and go sign up on superchargedstocks.com and let's keep you notified. Good morning, everyone. It's Andrew with Supercharged Stocks. Today we're speaking with Mr. Steve Hanson, who's the President, CEO, and Director over at ACME Lithium, Inc. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. A pleasure to be with you today.
Well, we want to catch up with you for a bunch of different reasons. Specifically, I mean, lithium. Come on, it's hot. We're very excited about what's happening in the lithium market, but specifically about where you are, your jurisdiction, where you're at with the company, and what attracted you to this project.
Well, you're right, Andrew. We are in this lithium megatrend that's going on, and it's really driven by a number of factors. Everyone thinks of electric vehicles as the main key area, but really lithium, as an element and a critical commodity has been important to us in a variety of ways. We find it in our cell phones, our laptops, our power tools, and our EVs, and have for a couple of decades now. But what's really going to be interesting is actually in battery storage. And there are battery farms being built throughout the world as well as local communities. So when we think about batteries and battery metals, and in particular lithium, there's massive growth in a number of areas. And another key point here that people don't really understand about lithium is that most of the supply for lithium is coming from a handful of countries and regions around the world. And when Biden put out the national blueprint on lithium in June of this year, it was really an alarm bell that went off and said the US does not have a key domestic supply of lithium for the growth that's necessary within a variety of industries.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to that desperate need for these critical elements for our future is when we see the supply chain kind of, having it stuttering a little bit due to COVID, due to all the issues we're having, is whenever you have to rely on somewhere else to get your resources, that becomes onerous. And if we can find projects that are in fair jurisdictions, that are open for business, that want the work, and that are close to businesses that require these fundamental building blocks to build the economy, it's definitely going to be a high priority to all governments.
Absolutely. And the lithium currently is mainly produced in countries like Australia, China, Argentina, Chile. The US comes in for annual production 6th or 7th in the world. And really, there's only one place where lithium has been continuously produced in the US, and that's in Nevada, in Esmeralda County. And in fact, in a particular valley called Clayton Valley. They've been continuously producing lithium in that region since 1966. And so when we were founding this company and getting into the lithium business, we focused on the US. And there are resources in the US where development and capital and forward thinking on a regulatory and infrastructure standpoint that could be suitable, obviously, to supply these huge needs in the US sector. So our first acquisition was, in fact, in the valley over from Clayton Valley, still in Esmeralda County, and it was called Fish Lake Valley. It's to the west of Clayton Valley, across the foothills. And there'd been some previous work done on our project there that had shown very good lithium values. So we're continuing to advance that project as we speak today. But our core acquisition was an acquisition of a project in Clayton Valley. And what's interesting is we are contiguously a neighbor of Albemarle, the New York Stock Exchange listed company with a $27 billion market cap. And that's the company that's been producing lithium in Clayton Valley since 1966. So we are a direct neighbor of Albemarle with our project to the northwest. So we've got a great location. There'd been some historical work done on this property with some good lithium values, and we're continuing to advance that project today with some geophysical work that just was recently completed. I should have that report out here in the next couple of weeks. And then ultimately, we're going to be drilling our project in January or February of 2022. So some near-term milestones are coming up here early in the new year. We're very excited about it. And again, continuing to focus our attention on this key region of the US and ultimately, hopefully, being a supplier of lithium to the various markets domestically in the US.
It was Rio Tinto had mentioned that it would need about 60 of their Jadar mines to fill this looming gap of lithium. So I don't know if you could maybe give someone a bit of an idea of what that looks like.
Well, there is a bit of a race on right now from technology companies, from the big Asian miners as well, who are looking to secure supply for lithium. So we're seeing a lot of M&A activity in this space. There's been a couple of major acquisitions that have taken place of publicly traded companies that were great wins for those shareholders. Rio Tinto's, one of their key economists came out and discussed their project that's actually located in Serbia. And that is a multi-billion-dollar project that's coming online here over the next few years. And that economist suggested that we need up to 60 of these types of projects to come online globally to meet the demand for lithium over the next decade, as we see massive growth in the EV space, but as well in the battery storage sector as well. So I think we're going to continue to see continued M&A activity, continued strategic investment by major players in advanced projects as they meet milestones. You know, as projects like ours get de-risked, there certainly will be attention paid by players from around the world, and in particular for companies that are in the US that want to secure domestic supply.
And luckily, a lot of my listeners and readers, we talk about Nevada a lot, so they're well versed in understanding how mining friendly it is. And I think, if I'm not wrong, aren't you like 190 miles from Las Vegas? Like, it's pretty close.
Well, Clayton Valley is about halfway between Reno and Nevada, so okay. It's off of a main highway, and so again, you can access expertise, you can access services, equipment, you know, all those kind of things are readily available in Nevada from some of those main cities, obviously because of their history in mining and resources. You know, there's very, very good people and consultants that we can access to. And certainly the fact that lithium has been developed and produced there for decades. There's knowledge about lithium in the region. There's a number of other explorers and developers that are in the area in Nevada. And so, you know, we're grateful that we're able to close on these projects. And really our goal here is to advance them to a point where, you know, hopefully one day we can develop a resource and bring value to our shareholders. Excellent.
So like you said, you've done a lot of work up until this point. The new year, you're really setting yourself up for the new year. What's something we should be looking at? Like if someone's looking at you guys today and saying, okay, well, what's the urgency? Should I be jumping in today or should I wait a week? When should I be looking at you guys to buy?
Well, as I mentioned, we just finished a phase 2 geophysical program at Clayton Valley in the last couple of weeks. I'll be getting that report shortly. We'll analyze it and interpret it and ultimately come out with here news in the next little while on those geophysics. And what that really is, those are readings of the earth that tell you where potentially brine aquifers or brining gravels may be. There's been some historical work done on our project in that regard, but this really will find to where our drill targets are going to go. So shareholders should look for, and investors should look for that news. And then we'll begin the permitting process, securing our drilling services company and other various services. And so we'll provide updates over the next few weeks as to how that goes as well. And then ultimately, you know, our target and goal is to drill probably sometime in February, which should be very exciting. And certainly we're hopeful that we'll have success in that regard.
And certainly for people watching and generalists that tend to watch my show, this having that capital structure as well is a big advantage, because you're new, it's clean. There's so few shares out in regards to other companies that can give that kind of that upside lift for someone if they want to come into a company that's in the right jurisdiction, tons of infrastructure. Once again, a lot of people are quite familiar now with Nevada, with a new clean share structure where there's ability to grow. And I think that's what makes this quite appealing. And it's just a matter of waiting to see what the data reveals.
Well, and I think if we can deliver on these milestones on a number of fronts, including Clayton Valley, as well as some future work we're going to do at Fish Lake, if we can deliver on these milestones, then hopefully the market will take care of itself.
Well, I mean, I have to admit, certainly with lithium, you're hearing so much about it. I mean, we can't not pay attention to energy today. We see what's happening in Europe. We even see here with natural gas, the prices going up. There seems to be a big focus on energy. And if we're going to meet this new clean, green demand that everyone is in agreement they want to do, this means getting into mining friendly areas, doing it properly with strong teams and great projects, and having that support, like having the Biden administration with their pledge for this green future. Having that makes a big deal. And then it's a matter of just letting the rest of the world know this is how we can do it. Like this is what we need. We need lithium. We need all of these other minerals and projects to get online in order to meet this goal.
Well, absolutely. And President Biden had a news conference this summer with the major auto manufacturers, and in particular talking about regulations and changes and really a positive push on the EV front in particular. And GM has stated they're going to go 100% EV vehicles within the next couple of decades. Ford has put over $20 billion into their EV division. California has stated that they would like to be all EV, all electric vehicles as a state of California. So there really is a movement going forward. And ultimately, that's going to drive the need for battery metals commodities, with lithium being one of the main ones. So, I think as an investor, this sector is going to continue to attract lots of interest in the way of capital. I think there's going to be many more future success stories. And, the key for investors here is to find companies that are, as you say, at the early stages, that have the best potential for success. And we believe that we're one of them.
And then one of the last questions I always like to ask is, kind of talk, well, unfortunately, a little bit about yourself, but about the management team you've been able to put together, because not only is it the project, you have to have the whole thing. Like you've got the great project, you're in the right metal and element, it attracts the right people. Tell us about the team in general, and what are you looking at moving forward?
Sure. Well, I've got close to 30 years of finance and corporate development experience in the resource sector. I've worked on all 4 continents around the world, have been involved in a number of early stage companies where we've seen M&A activity, as well as strategics coming in and investing in those projects. So I understand how this process works. I'm also fortunate that I find very, very smart people, and I surround myself with people smarter than myself. That's the key to success. We've got some great technical people, advisors, and consultants that work with us that have experience in lithium for not just the last couple of years, but have been working in lithium for 10 years plus, have worked in Nevada as well, and understand that jurisdiction in working with the BLM and working with the county. So, although we're a small team, we have a team that understands how to develop projects like this.
And whenever we look at a company too, we want to see, can it move? Does it have room to grow? And can it make money? Not only in the process of looking and discovering and hopefully discovering any deposits, but you've got like 36 million shares out. So you guys are sitting very, what they'd say is very clean company with not a lot out, that there's a big potential upside for you guys to build into. I believe you've got cash right now, so you don't need any cash. So you've got a lot of wiggle room to grow as you're moving forward and targeting and finding these targets and building forward into this new year.
Well, you're right, Andrew. As a new company, we're fairly well structured. from a capital structure. We've only been in the markets for about 8 months now. We're well financed. We've got cash in the bank that can apply to these 2 work programs at Fish Lake Valley and Clayton Valley. So we've got the capital required to meet some of these major milestones. And again, we look forward to 2022. This is going to be a big year for us. We'll continue to look for accretive projects that make sense to us as a lithium company. We continue to evaluate projects and look for joint venture partners with our current projects that we 100% control.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us and letting us know what's happening. We're really going to keep an eye on what's shaping up as more and more people are becoming more aware of the lithium market. And we look forward to seeing some of these milestones being met and any news release that you have coming out.
Great. Well, thanks, Andy, for the call today, and appreciate your interest in ACME Lithium.
Thanks so much, Steve. Take care.